I know I don't need to tell you guys this, but somebody that has been doing a fantastic job lately is Adam Mockler. I mean, this is an impressive young man. He's 23 years old. He's been making his rounds on all of these different mainstream media shows. He's unafraid to debate anybody under the sun. And especially since the death of Charlie Kirk, he has been a super strong voice on what I would call the radicalization problem that we are having here in America regarding young men. And he recently went on to do one of these town halls with Chris Cuomo over at News Nation. And to be honest, guys, I mean, he just knocked it out of the park. He's sitting down next to Charlie Kirk's executive producer, and he basically just took this dude to school over and over and over again. Not only was he able to just straight up denounce any violent or political rhetoric that is coming out of people on the left, but also he put forward a really good narrative as far as what is going on with young men in this country and the radicalization problem that we are currently seeing. So I want to go ahead and take a look at a few of these clips because I think it's important that we highlight voices that are doing such a great job. And so let's go ahead and start off with this clip where Adam is talking about how the violent rhetoric has just been so pervasive ever since Donald Trump came onto the political scene back in 2015. If you guys do appreciate my work and want to support the show, please do remember to subscribe.
Listen, there has been a trend of, I think, let's just say, let's be gracious and say, in the era of Trump, maybe it's a reaction to Trump. I'm open to those discussions, but there is a justification for political violence. It shows up in every poll, and it's coming from progressives.
I have spent all of my formative years watching the President of the United States talk about the opposition party like they shouldn't exist. His claim to fame in U.S. politics was saying that Obama wasn't born in America. That is how he entered the political stage. He was famous before that, but that was his claim to fame. He was the first presidential candidate to ever chant "lock her up" on a political stage. He tried to coup our government. Well, and I live in this, let me finish. Listen. I live in the city of Chicago. Donald Trump, over the past 2 months, has not only posted an AI video of Obama being arrested, but then after that, he posted an AI image of Chicago being invaded. After that, he sent the National Guard to Chicago. So I've spent my formative years watching the president do this. And just think about this. We saw these Nazi group chats, which I'm sure you condemn, right? This Nazi group chat.
Well, we can talk about it.
Do you condemn it?
I want to talk about it.
Wait, so when they said gas chambers,
disavow.
When they say gas chambers, you won't. So you're like JD Vance. You just won't condemn this?
Well, I actually had JD on the show today. We had a whole conversation.
You guys can all condemn this, right?
Hell yes.
Thank you.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
But
Chris, can you condemn that?
Here's the point, of course. But that's easy. What I'm.
Okay. Now, this is just downright absurd. If you guys don't know what we're talking about here, there's a whole bunch of group chats that leaked. I think it was like 22,000 text messages or something along those lines with the most heinous shit that you can imagine. Talking about Jews in a derogatory manner, talking about turning showers into gas chambers, referring to black folks as monkeys. I mean, it is the stuff of nightmares in those group chats. And for Charlie Kirk's executive producer or his, former executive producer, not to be able to just come out and say, yeah, that's just wrong, bro. It is insane. And that is one of the main problems that I have as far as political violence for one, but also the violent rhetoric for two. People on the right, people like Charlie Kirk's executive producer here, they will never, ever take accountability for anything that is on their side. Never, ever, 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 ever. Even when we have these Republicans that took a shot at Donald Trump, even when you have these Republicans that are carrying out these insane attacks, they will always find a way to turn that around and say, actually, that was just a crazy lefty. It happens every single time. And for him not to be able to come out and just denounce the most heinous rhetoric that you can imagine, it just goes to show the problem that we are having today. These people think that they just are unable to be held accountable for what is going on their side. It's just an untenable situation that we live in. We are always asked on the left to condemn, and then what do we get in return? These people never being able to take accountability for shit that they may have inspired. And for Adam Mockler to bring up how Donald Trump has been escalating these tensions over the past 10 years, since back in 2015, is the exact right thing. Donald Trump, in his first campaign, right? He was going around saying, beat the hell out of those guys. I'll cover your lawyer fees. Maybe the Second Amendment guys can take care of Hillary Clinton. I mean, we've heard it all from Donald Trump. And anytime anything happens from a crazy MAGA lunatic, they are unwilling to come out and denounce. It should be the simplest thing that they can do. Now, let's go ahead and move on to this next clip where they are talking about, or Adam is putting forth a narrative about the radicalization problem among young men.
Yes, there is violence, increasingly so in our politics. Why do you think it is, and do you believe it is disproportionately coming from young progressives?
Well, Andrew pointed out an undercurrent of political violence, but there is a deeper undercurrent here of political radicalization of young people, primarily young men. So the same time that Charlie Kirk was tragically shot, another young white dude shot up Evergreen High School in Colorado, and this dude was a far-right neo-Nazi who had anti-Semitic messages online. I think that there's an undercurrent of radicalization that's stemming from a few things. As a 23-year-old, I lived through COVID during my most formative years, and I was able to rebound and have a social life, but a lot of young people didn't really get to rebound. Imagine having this bubble up around you during COVID, and you never really get to pull that bubble down, so you get sucked deeper and deeper down these algorithms online. Those algorithms are then, incentivized to push the most outrage, whether it's foreign bots like Russia and Iran trying to get people outraged, or domestic actors. I think Elon Musk's Twitter feed, for example, is disgusting and could radicalize a lot of young people. I disagree with the idea that violence disproportionately comes from young progressives. It is uniquely up this year, but if you look at any polls, according to CSIS, political violence overwhelmingly comes from the right. These mass shootings come from the right, and when it comes to the leaked text messages that came out 24 hours ago, I don't think it's fair to say there's an undercurrent just on the left. I know what you mean, but there's also an undercurrent on the right. There is something deep and dark boiling inside the GOP, and it's like the Nick Fuentes faction of the GOP. You can't deny that this is boiling when we got these leaked texts 24 hours ago. I do not like when people are characterizing these as kids in college. These were grown adults. Some of them were 32 years old. One of them was a state senator from Vermont. Today, we saw an Ohio aide with a swastika in the back. I would never claim that this is representative of an entire party, but I do think there's an undercurrent of radicalization on both sides.
Okay, let's just pause it there, because, that's... As the Midas Touch guys tweeted out here, you can see, wow, Adam Mockler just put on a masterclass. That is exactly right. He is willing to come out and say, this is a problem that we are seeing on both sides of the aisle, which is true. He's also correct to say that most political violence is coming from crazies on the right. 2025 is actually the first year in the chart where we're going to look out here in a few seconds or a few minutes that left-wing political violence is outflanking right-wing political violence for the first time, and we're going to get to that chart in a second. But he is very easily coming out and saying, yes, this is a problem that we are seeing on both sides of the aisle, and I condemn all of it. The more important part that we should talk about here is how young men are being radicalized at an alarming rate. And COVID, as Adam brought up here, probably had a part to play in that, right? You had kids going home from school. They weren't hanging out with their friends. They were sitting home, maybe in their room, maybe in their basement, and they were getting radicalized online. And then when COVID was done and everybody started, going to life or back to normal life or whatever, a lot of these young men didn't have the tools or the necessary skills to tear that wall down and start socializing again. And that just ostracized them a little bit more from society. And then they became more radicalized. And even if we take a look at this shooting of Charlie Kirk, the right wants to spin it as though this was some crazy left-wing lunatic, but they haven't provided any good evidence that that is actually the case. What seems more likely is that this was a guy that was terminally online. I mean, even if you look at the bullets, the markings on the bullets that he had marked in or whatever, they weren't really indicative of a left-wing lunatic. They were indicative of somebody that was deep in online culture where everything is a meme, where all of these guys are nihilistic. They don't see the point in a future. And that's what it seems more like to me. I don't know about you guys, but they have, and you know that if these guys had solid evidence that this was some crazy left-wing lunatic, they would have definitely leaked that out to the public by now, but they have not. Now, the other thing I also want to mention just really quick, and I think he summed it up perfectly. There is something deep and dark that is bubbling up on the MAGA right. We saw it with the text messages that we already discussed, and we saw that, I think it was a staffer up on Capitol Hill. He had an American flag that was also, you know, designed with a swastika in it. Just really heinous stuff. Now, the text messages themselves came from the young leaders of the Republican Party. That should be chilling for everybody. These are the people who are ostensibly going to be taking over the party. And they're joking about how they love Hitler. They're joking about black folks in very negative ways. They're joking about Jews in very negative ways. They're joking about gas chambers and killing their enemies. That is alarming. And for Charlie Kirk's executive producer not to be able to just flatly denounce that shit, I mean, we're just living in a completely different world than these people. But let's keep going.
Well, can I?
Go ahead, Andrew, please put a point on it, and then we'll go to the audience.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just, you know, and I want to find agreement. You know, Charlie, if you ever watch his debates really closely, he was a master at making that human connection with people. He would say, so we agree. Even if they were worlds apart, he would try and find a place where he would agree with the student or the professor often that would come debate him. So I agree with you that COVID had a profound effect on Gen Z. I did not live through that, and my heart goes out to Gen Z students that lost their proms and their graduations from that and lost their social lives. However, the study you just cited didn't include things like, you know, the Tesla attacks that were against Elon Musk and Tesla.
The study shows lethal deaths, lethal violence. Lethal violence comes disproportionately from the right. The Tesla attacks were not lethal. We can point to the Buffalo shooting, the El Paso supermarket.
I let you talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Wow. All right. So there's a whole bunch.
I tried to debunk my study, so.
Is it your study? Did you do it?
I did not do it, but keep
What is your point, sir?
Okay. I mean, these guys are just such snowflakes. Adam was very specific in what he said. We are talking about fatalities as it pertains to political violence. And the graph that we're going to look at in a second shows that this is a problem that is very pervasive on the right. And for the first time in 2025, terrorism plots and terrorism acts coming from people on the left is actually outdoing those on the right for the first time. But these people are just not living in reality. They are unwilling to condemn anything that is happening on their side. He's unwilling to condemn people who are saying that Hitler was base. They're unwilling to come out and say that maybe they do have a problem in their ranks, and instead, they just want to make this a conversation about how people on the left are overwhelmingly violent, and then trying to conflate the Tesla attacks with violence against people is just another dishonest way to try to spin the story in his favor, right? Yes, the Tesla attacks are not good, but we're not talking about property damage. We are talking about violence against individuals. That's why Adam was very clear in his language. Now, let's go on to the last clip, guys. Here is Adam again, just no question about it, condemning stuff on his side while also calling out the bigger problem.
I want you to respond to what we heard from the question the last time, Adam, and then I'll give you another audience question. You said you had something you wanted to say in response to the American University guy who runs the Republican club there and said that people came up and said they were happy that Charlie Kirk had been assassinated.
Yeah, I believe his name was Luke. He said that a bunch of young progressives were coming up and acting in insane ways. And as a young liberal, someone who's on the left, I just want to say I wholeheartedly condemn anybody who is saying insane things about Charlie Kirk, horrendous things about Charlie Kirk. Anyone who is spitting or shutting down conversation, that is not what America is about at all. And I can very easily condemn when my side is going off the rails, but I just ask the bare minimum from Andrew. When they're talking about gas chambers and group chats, can you condemn that?
Are we really going to do this again? No. So, okay.
So you don't condemn it?
Your energy is so aggressive.
I love Hitler, gas chambers.
All right, hold on.
You can't condemn that.
Just easy, buddy. Okay, so there is a whole conversation that I want this to be attached to, okay? And the whole conversation is that we have a guy who's running for attorney general in Virginia.
I condemn that.
Okay,
but you can't
great,
condemn your side.
But your party is not disavowing it. It still supports this guy.
Name one Democrat that supports him in Congress who says, I support what he said.
Tim Kaine just got asked on CNN tonight and said, yeah, I still support him.
Supports what he said?
No, he doesn't support what he says, but he's not pulling his endorsement.
So no Democrat supports what he
so
said.
you're going to parse. Okay, well, listen. I condemn what they say, but I still support them as
Thank you.
people.
Why did I have to pry that out of you?
You are parsing. It's basically a distinction without a difference.
J.D. Vance lied on your podcast today. He said these were young.
Whoa, look.
Yeah. I don't understand why this is.
I got some journal.
All right. So there it is, guys. Adam is very willing, and it's very easy for him to come out and say, yes, all of this stuff that we are seeing from those on the left, I condemn it. The attorney general candidate in Virginia who fantasized or alluded to killing the House Speaker in Virginia, I think it was, who was a Republican, I condemn it. And if there is any Democrat out there, I can't even name one that is supportive of the rhetoric that attorney general candidate espoused. Not one. I can't name one. Now, do I think that guy should drop out of the race and he should not be the attorney general of Virginia? Hell yeah. I don't think that person should be anywhere near power. If you're going to be joking like that in your private life, then you shouldn't be in public office. You should not be, especially an attorney general, if you're talking about killing your political opponents. That is unacceptable. But again, guys, it is this false equivalence every single time with these people. Adam can come out and condemn no matter what. We can say that political violence coming from people on the left, violent rhetoric coming from people on the left, I condemn. And then on the other hand, you've got this guy who used to be Charlie Kirk's executive producer is very, very hesitant to come out and say that these people in that group chat should be condemned. These people, it is an uneven playing field, is the main point that I want to make here. We can come out and condemn all we want. The President of the United States will not. Leaders in the Republican Party will not. You have the Vice President of the United States coming out and running defense for these crazy group chats, saying that, oh, it's just a whole bunch of kids saying edgy jokes. It wasn't just a whole bunch of kids. We're talking about people, I think, all the way up to the age of 40. There was a senator from, where was it? I don't remember the senator, the state. But there was an elected senator as part of that group chat who was in on some of this filthy rhetoric. So it's not just a bunch of kids. It is a whole bunch of people who have prominence in the Republican Party, and they were saying the most heinous shit imaginable. And for these people not to be able to come out and easily condemn that stuff should be concerning to all of us. And it should tell us exactly what we already know, that there is something deep and dark that is boiling up on the Republican side. The MAGA party or the MAGA movement has consumed the Republican Party, and it is an extremist movement at this point. That is what it boils down to. And to go ahead and wrap things up, guys, I do want to take a look at this chart I was telling you about. We're talking about terrorist attacks and plots in the United States by perpetrator orientation, 1994 to 2025. As you can see here, all of this red, which is the overwhelming majority of violence on this chart, belongs to those on the right. You can see it here. Every single year, the yellow, which they classify as jihadist violence, does outweigh some of these years. But for the most part, when we're talking about the left-right dichotomy, political violence is coming from mostly those on the right. In 2025, as you can see here, there is an uptick coming from the left for the first year since 1994. So that is the chart that I wanted to show you. As we can see here, political violence does come from both sides. We should all be able to come out and condemn political violence from both sides. But we should also be able to recognize that political violence is a problem that comes from mostly people on the right. That is the way that I will put it. Now, I don't know why it is so hard for these elected leaders, these prominent figures in the conservative movement, the MAGA movement. I don't know why it is so hard for them to come out and condemn this shit. But it should, I mean, we should expect more out of these people. I mean, the President of the United States, before we even had arrested the shooter in the Charlie Kirk shooting, he came out and blamed political violence on the left. Before we knew anything about the guy, before he had even been arrested. We are not playing on the same playing field. Every single Democrat elected leader, every Democratic leader after Charlie Kirk's death came out and denounced what had happened to Charlie Kirk. They denounced the political violence, no matter where it was coming from. Every single one of them. On the other side, it is not the same story. When the President of the United States cannot come out and condemn what he has spurred on in this country, then we have a fucking problem. And it is only going to probably continue to get worse until he maybe leaves this earth. I don't know. I just do not know what to expect anymore. But this is an asymmetrical problem coming from those on the right, and we should all be willing to come out and say that we condemn all of it. So really good job to Adam Mockler here. Like I said, guys, he has been making his rounds on these mainstream media shows. I think he said he hired a publicist or something, and they have been helping him get onto these mainstream media shows, and he's just been killing it. So super happy for this young man. He is doing an excellent job. He's a really good voice for young men, considering he is 23 years old. He's been very successful in what he does, and I just wish him the best of luck. I'm glad to have him on our team, and I think he should continue to go out there and debate anybody under the sun. And if there's one piece of criticism that I would give to him, sometimes he has a lot of energy, right? And sometimes I think that can come across as aggressive, especially when you have snowflakes like Charlie Kirk's former executive producer trying to make him seem aggressive. So there is a way to kind of balance that line, I would say. There's kind of that line between, hyped up and then too aggressive. And I think that would be my only criticism. Sometimes he can come across as a little too forceful, and I think there's a little bit of negotiating in there that he could do with himself to make that come across just a little bit better. But other than that, guys, he is killing it, and I hope he continues to do so. So I'll leave it there for now, guys. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We've got to build something here on the left that pushes back against this MAGA media machine that just launders all of this shit for Donald Trump and his party day in and day out. So if you do like what I do here, please do remember to smash that subscribe button. And if you guys want to go a step above and beyond that and actually help me produce these videos, you can become a member right here on YouTube for as little as $3 a month, or you can head over to politiscape.substack.com where you can have my content delivered directly to your inbox every single day without the doom scrolling, without the algorithms. So until the next one, guys, everybody take care of yourselves out there, be safe, and I'll see you on the next one.